Barney Airlines pilot Leon Cuttyback coaxed his underpowered Swallow biplane into the air on April 6, 1926. Little did he realize that his flight would mark the beginning of permanent scheduled airline service in the United States. That memorable flight over the Blue Mountains from Pasco, Washington to Boise, Idaho, put Barney Airlines in the records for making the first contract airmail run following the government's decision to turn over airmail flying to private operators. During the next year, other airlines began operations with newly awarded mail routes. Nobody seriously considered flying as a mode of passenger transportation. But in May 1927, a 25-year-old airmail pilot named Charles Lindbergh flew from New York to Paris alone. He had done more than anyone else to call the public's attention to aviation. But the epic feat was indirectly responsible for overshadowing another important flying milestone. The frenzied attempts of other flyers to match or exceed Lindbergh's flight dominated the news. And virtually no one noticed that on September 1st, 1927, a person could fly from one ocean to the other. The final segment of the airmail network was in operation. September 1927, the San Francisco Bay area. Two passengers could squeeze themselves into the tiny cabin of Boeing Air Transport's bi-wing 40A to fly east. New York was a day and a half and 15 stops away. The pilot sat in an open cockpit, insisting he had to hear the wing wires and feel the pressure in order to fly properly. The trip meant changing planes in Chicago, and a very good possibility of being bumped to make room for more mail. National Air Transport flew the new Chicago to New York route in open cockpit Douglas M4 planes. No attempt was made to cater to passengers. Mail was more profitable. It didn't have to be provided with a helmet and goggles, and flying suit or parachute. Coast-to-coast fare was $404 one way. A lot of money at $1927. In $1977, the fare would be more than $1,400. By 1930, both airlines saw the value of passengers. Boeing introduced its tri-motored bi-wing 80A on the western leg of the transcontinental route. To the 14 passengers, it was luxury compared to flying just 3 years earlier. But the greatest innovation in 1930 was the addition of stewardesses. National Air Transport had begun flying the Ford Trimotor between New York and Chicago. The Tin Goose increased payloads in terms of passengers and mail. Cross-country time had been reduced to about 27 hours. In 1933, a breakthrough in aircraft design. The Boeing 247, the first all-metal multi-engine low-wing airliner. Its 170-mile-an-hour speed reduced coast-to-coast flying time to just over 20 hours. The Boeing 247 ruled the commercial skies until the renowned Douglas DC-3 came on the scene. Flying time between the coasts was cut further to just over 15 hours and 4 stops. Passengers could enjoy such innovations as coast-to-coast overnight sleeper service and Sky Lounge luxury service between New York and Chicago, and hot meals. The DC-3 became known as the workhorse of the airlines and served well the demands of passenger and cargo traffic, even as these demands accelerated in the interests of national defense. When World War II began, a new 4-engine airliner was being developed jointly by Douglas and 5 airlines, including United. But before the DC-4 could go into airline service, it was converted for military transport duty with the armed forces. The Army called her the C-54, the Navy the R-5D. Whatever her numbers, the faithful airplane flew troops and cargo in virtually every theater of operation. At the end of the war, the DC-4 resumed civilian life and served the airlines until Douglas built and delivered a larger and faster aircraft in 1947, the famous DC-6. Wartime technology had developed a new comfort for passengers, the pressurized cabin, one of the most significant advancements in airline technology. Now the airlines could fly over the weather instead of through it. In 1957, the luxurious DC-7. For the first time, passengers could fly coast to coast non-stop. The DC-7 streaked across the nation in a mere 8 hours, 1/4 the time it took those first cross-country pioneer flyers. The DC-7 was the last of the great together, spanning the nation and the world, bringing people together in friendship and peaceful commerce, inspiring all who have faith in the human spirit and aspire to the stars.